Hello.
Hi.
I was originally going to speak about jobs, but somebody mentioned what I wanted to talk about. So I'll talk about my other passion, which is the Second Amendment. I understand the need to do something. We all feel we need to do something. However, I do not feel that all the laws that are being proposed right now will prevent another shooting like Newtown. I think the focus needs to be on mental health. If you want to pass a law, I can think of a good one, that all guns should be locked up. I'll agree with that one.
That's in my package.
Okay, that's the only one that would make a difference. The laws that are being proposed are not going to stop the crazies. They're not going to stop the gangbangers. So I think we should focus on mental health and what can we do to stop the criminal element.
Sure.
Okay, I don't think repealing the death penalty was a good idea. I don't think early release is a good idea. Those are two things right there that can change something, you know, make things better. And I think that's where our focus needs to be, not on making gun owners feel like criminals and pushing gun owners and gun manufacturers out of this state. Because we are going to leave.
Well, if you leave, I mean, listen, I don't want you to, well, I don't want you to leave. But at 2,000 jobs, I understand that we have that potential. And, you know, that all gets weighed. People think about that stuff. And no one's telling them they have to leave. But that's a decision that they get to make. We don't get to make it for them.
They shouldn't be forced to make that decision.
No one's forcing them to make that decision. No one is forcing them to make that decision.
First of all,
let me point something out to you. Some of those companies make weapons that can't be sold in Connecticut currently. They're here.
But you're going to make it, so they can't make anything that's going to be sold here.
That's simply not true.
And by the way, it's not an assault rifle. It's not an assault weapon. It's a rifle. They look scary.
If the thing that was used to kill 26 people in less than 5 minutes is not an assault weapon, then there is no such thing as an assault weapon.
There isn't.
Well, then you and I have a profound disagreement on that point. Because I know what the genesis of those weapons are from their original military design. And I think that was addressed in the 1993 legislation, but it was addressed in such a way that those gun manufacturers drove a truck through the loophole. So for instance, that gun made by one manufacturer couldn't be sold in our state, but the gun made by another manufacturer, slightly altered, could. In fact, that's why that weapon could, but other manufacturers making similar weapons in the state of Connecticut couldn't sell theirs. That's the reality. So we've had this on our books for a period of time. I understand we disagree. I mean, and I believe you to be a patriot, and quite frankly, I believe myself to be a patriot. So, you know, I spent time as a prosecutor in New York City. I actually gave 4 years of my life, or a portion of 4 years of my life, to do that. I started that job at $17,500 in 1980 in New York City. I tried 23 felony cases, including 4 homicides. I had convictions in 22 of the 23 felony cases, and I had a conviction in a misdemeanor case as well. So, I mean, I get that stuff. So when you talk about some of these other things, what we're trying to do, and what we have successfully done in our state, is lower crime since I became governor, with the exception of this terrible tragedy that took place in Newtown. We have lowered recidivism in our state since I became governor. And we don't have an early release program that's any different than what we're simply trying to do. And that is, if you're in prison and you actually get treatment for mental illness, get your GED or a high school diploma, we want to reward those behaviors because statistically, the people coming out of jail who have been through those programs are far less likely to repeat the behaviors that got them in jail to begin with. Now, and by the way, we're joining states like Texas, like Kansas, like Ohio, like Illinois, that simply are looking at facts. If you don't incentivize someone to get their GED, if you don't incentivize someone to be treated for drugs or other mental conditions while they're in prison, when they get out, they're far more likely to commit a crime. And that crime might be something as easy as stealing a newspaper off a counter, or it might be something substantially more serious. So when you talk about,
I agree with you there.
but that's the program that you took some time to include in that's what that is. It's
But
simply
dropping
saying,
them off in New Haven isn't the answer either.
listen, if you look at the percentage of people get dropped off where they came from. So I mean, if the mayor wants me to drop them off here, I mean we could negotiate that, but they're going to go to where they came from. I mean, this idea that we're dropping people off in communities that they didn't enter the system from is not true. Okay? And if it is, we'll stop it. But I've asked that question. I had the Commissioner of Corrections in my office today. I probably have had more dialogue with the Commissioner of Corrections in the 2 years that I've been governor than any governor's had in a long, long time. Because doing the same thing year after year after year that doesn't get to the problem, which is this recidivism in our system, makes no sense at all. Okay? Thanks.
Jim Leiter, let's talk about followed by